My smart ass used to think there was something missing from te whare tapawhā. I looked at it and I thought, well, you can have a strong tinana, you can have a strong wairua, good relationships in your whānau, but what if you've got no money? How are you supposed to pay for therapy? How are you supposed to pay for doctors? How are you supposed to pay for things to achieve this health? So I thought, we've got to have some type of 5-walled whare to incorporate pūtea. I honestly thought I was onto something really big here. And I spoke to a lot of people about this, and I learned some things in this. Where some Māori don't participate in te tauhou Pākehā, I used it as an opportunity to try again for all the goals I didn't achieve in te tauhou Māori. So what I would do is I would put up te whare tapawhā, and I would just add an extra category. I am the Māori millionaire after all. What I realised over all of these discussions I was having was that te whare tapawhā is a very robust model to look at. But what I also saw was that if we prioritise our hauora, financial abundance is so much easier to achieve. It doesn't matter how much money is coming in. If you're struggling with addictions, it'll just go straight out. It doesn't matter what you want to achieve. If you don't have the hauora to sustain the money coming in, it's pointless. There's no point in being a millionaire 6 feet under. So, long story short, I love te whare tapawhā, and I think it's an incredible model. But today, I'm here to answer our pātai. How does the Māori economy pave the way to prosperity, and how do we continue to build on our economic sovereignty? I thought this was a really big question. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with this. The more success Pākehā Māori have, the more opportunities we have as Māori to work in environments that we really want to work in. For most people, I think our jobs are just a way to put bread on the table. They're not things that actually bring us full body alignment, the things that we wake up in the morning and we're like, oh my gosh, I just can't wait to get to work. Most people don't have that with their mahi. It's not something they get really, really excited to do. But by developing and strengthening Te Ōhanga Māori, we get to create not only strong businesses that come from Māori who know what it's like to be Māori, and to create solutions for not only Māori, but for everyone, because as we know, solutions that work for Māori not only work for us, but they work for everyone. Like, everyone can use te whare tapawhā and can get some type of benefit from it. So when we have more Pākehā Māori thriving, we've got more employment opportunities for our whānau to be in places that are in true alignment with who you are. So your mahi is like a beautiful extension of who you are as a person outside of work as well. When we're not in alignment with what we actually want to be doing, we tend to use unhealthy coping strategies. Things like that sweet treats drawer at the bottom of your desk just to be able to cope with your day at work. Things like calling in sick because you just can't take another day of it. Things like going to a bar to drink, to talk about your boss you don't like. Sorry, I think people call that debriefing the workday. These are normal coping strategies for misalignment, for things we don't actually want to be doing. But through investing and strengthening Te Ōhanga Māori, we not only get to create new work environments that our whānau actually want to be in, the type where you actually come to mahi with incredible ideas because you're like thinking about it outside. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go and share with, my whanaunga, who's my boss. I get to share with them this idea I had of how we can create better solutions for what we're working on. It's no longer just a job. It's something that brings you joy. It's something you get excited to do. When you're in alignment, you have more energy. And when you have more energy, you have the ability to focus on building more prosperity. When we're living and working in te ao Pākehā, and we experience this misalignment, sometimes we have to be a little bit self-centric to get forward, to be able to take leaps in our career. Because if you don't, sometimes you might miss out on things, pay rises or opportunities. But this thinking that there isn't enough space for us to all win, that there isn't enough space for us to all thrive, that comes from scarcity. And that scarcity thinking, it isn't Māori. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to us. But it came to Aotearoa through colonisation. When our whenua was stolen, crops were destroyed, and our people were hurt. Before this, we lived in abundance. There was more than enough to go around. We thrived together, we collectively owned, we did as a collective, and we thrived as a collective. We continue to build on our economic sovereignty by harnessing the collective. In this room, in our community, in our iwi, we have the answers to every single one of the problems that we are navigating. The Māori millionaires, the administrators, the lawyers, the doctors, throughout our community, we have the skill sets, we have the knowledge, we have the mātauranga to create solutions for everything that we're navigating. We also have that power within ourselves, within our puku, our intuition that connects us not only with our highest selves, but also with our tūpuna. When we can actually leverage this and we can listen to our puku and listen to our intuition, that is when great things will happen. We can also harness the power of our tūpuna, who were trailblazers, pioneers, like entrepreneurs at its finest. Like in the early 1700s, when Māori taught Pākehā how they could use harakeke and turn it into rope, and then a booming trade in flax fibre was born. We've got the answers within our communities. Tonight, e te whānau, I have 4 key takeaways that I want you to take home into your whānau. I want you to wānanga these. I want you to take some notes so that you can actually use these moving forward. Number 1, ahakoa te aha, no matter what. So we've either experienced scarcity or we've not seen abundance. And so that is, for most of us, our comfort zone. That's what feels safe. To our logical mind, of course, we all want to be Māori millionaires. But that is outside of our comfort zone. So we say things to keep us safe. Things like, rich people are greedy. But it's not true, because money amplifies who you are before you have money. So if you're a bitch before you get rich, you'll just become a rich bitch. But if you've got a heart of manaakitanga, of aroha, you care for your people and you want to create change, then with more money, then you get to 10x that, 20x that. You get to create more change because money amplifies whoever you were before you got the money. Number 2, 1% better, ia rā. This is honestly my favorite one, and I'm just always talking about this because it works. So many people are trying to be 100 times better every millisecond of every day. Cold turkey quitting things, crash diets that don't work. It doesn't work because you're overcommitting yourself to things you can't actually do, you can't sustain. What you can do is be 1% better every single day. By being 1% better every single day, 365 days of the year, you're going to be 37 times better by the end of the year. I'm not that good at maths, but it compounds to 37 times better by the end of the year. I read it in a book, Atomic Habits. I know this works because when I first started my journey, I couldn't even walk to the end of my road and back without getting puffed out. And I thought to myself, what can I do? What can I actually commit to? Because I wanted to change my life so badly, and every time I had tried, it didn't work. And so what I thought was, I think you can do 5 minutes a day. You can walk for 5 minutes a day. And I've spoken to people about this, and they're like, what's the point in walking for 5 minutes? Like, what are you going to do in 5 minutes? The point was that every single day, I practiced self-honorance. Like, I was able to show up for myself. And when I did this, I built so much confidence that I was someone who did what I said I was going to do. And over time, this confidence only built, it strengthened, and literally next month, I'm going to run my first 12Ks. Like, I'm 70 kgs down, and that happened because I committed to being just 1% better every single day. Number 3, millionaires move. This one might be my favorite one. So if you were to imagine your highest self, the version of you who's making the money that you want to make, who's running the business you want to make, how are they walking through life? What things are they doing? What things are they not doing? What conversations are they having? What conversations are they not having? Are they spending their night on TikTok scrolling until 2 a.m. in the morning? Like, what are the things they're doing? When I asked myself this question, back when I woke up every single morning and smoked weed all throughout my day, I would wake up in the night to smoke weed. I asked myself, does the version of me who owns a 6-figure business, who gets to live her dream life, who gets to do the mahi she really wants to do, does she do this? No. So I had to put down the bong. That was hard. My ex told me that when I was asleep, I literally would reach over onto the bedside table and pick up my vape and have a vape while I was asleep. And I asked myself, is this the stuff you're doing? Like, when you have your dream life, when you're able to work with the people you want to work with, when you're on stages inspiring people, is that the stuff you're doing? No. So I had to put the vape down as well. I know there's something that's come to your mind right now that you're like, I need to put my thing down. Or there's something you might need to pick up. It could be starting a business you want to start. It could be literally whatever it is. There's a millionaire move that you're not making right now that you need to be making. Aha ko te aha, 1% better, and millionaires move. These are 3 key concepts that I speak about in my Puka Puka, which is the first ever personal finance book with a Māori author, which is, we're launching in June. I'm so excited for this. But it's open for pre-orders at the moment, if you have a look. Number 4, my last thing for you all, is to join me on this journey of self-development, of becoming your best self, of, just literally taking back the reins of your life, taking back that power, and making millionaire moves, doing the things you know you need to be doing, making the moves you know you need to be making, and just showing up and being your absolute best self. Tēnā rā tātou katoa.